Where would Chris Bumstead place at the 2024 Mr. Olympia event in the Men's Open? That is something we will explore today. We're going to take a look at a lot of comparisons, so sit back, relax, pop your popcorn, and enjoy this one. Chris Bumstead versus Hadi, Derek Lunsford, and Samson Dauda. Are you kidding me? Would he even get into this situation? Well, just hear me out for a second. We'll take a look at other comparisons in a couple of minutes. If he did, in fact, make this first call out, how would he do? Would he defeat any of these guys in this front double? He looks, and I don't want to use the word stringy, but I just kind of tossed it out there. Size of the wheels, things of that nature, he does look very undersized, even in the arm department. But the area where he could get an edge is the midsection. If those judges are really focused on the tightness, the condition itself, I mean, yeah, Chris Bumstead, he could do all right. I got him fourth in this lineup. Yes, all seriousness, guys. Now, the front lat spread is a pose where our friend Chris Bumstead, he could win. He could actually, he definitely is not winning on the lag size, things of that nature. He's getting dwarfed in that aspect. But upper body-wise, I think he could do enough to make the judges think, well, geez Louise, he is pretty darn good. And this video could not come out at a more fitting time. Go through these shots as I gab about something. Chris Bumstead, I'm sure you guys know, he's competing in the Men's Open. So this is kind of this is kind of neat to see how he would have placed at the Olympia, because he's competing at the Prague against a couple of guys that we're going to see in a couple minutes. Now, side department, guys, I think it would be an overwhelming thickness and size advantage that Hadi, Derek, and Samson would have. Look at the arm for arm. And even in the wheels, Bumstead's got some good separation in those quads, but so does all of the other gentlemen. And when you turn them around, this is the difference between your top three. The Men's Open, Mr. Olympia event, their backs are all just way too much for Chris Bumstead. And even the conditioning, Bumstead's conditioning is pretty darn good, guys. But I mean, come on, you can only go but so far with this. But you know what? You could take a lot of the other guys from the Olympia, Men's Open, and I'm sure that these three dudes would be beating all of them in back and condition as well. And in the abs and thigh, what can you say? Chris Bumstead would do pretty darn good. It's not like he's a sore thumb sticking out. He might even give him that front lat spread. Sure, he was out of his element. The lag size, wheel size, things of that nature. But, yeah, maybe give him a second prize in this abs and thigh. He's not beating Hadi. Definitely not defeating Hadi. And the most muscular also would send Chris Bumstead down to a next call-out. Let's face it, guys, this is the top of the top. Hadi Shupin, Samson, and Derek? Come on. Nobody else in the Men's Open is touching these guys, and Chris Bumstead most certainly would not be placing in the top three. They'd send him down to this pack. And this is an interesting little comparison. And let's face it, if Chris Bumstead were to compete in the Men's Open, they would not put him in a lesser call-out than this. And you know what? I think he kind of belongs here. Sure, he sticks out as a much leaner guy as far as the lag size is concerned. You can't get past that. These are Men's Open, and he is sticking himself right in between the two guys with the thickest quads. Bonac, no slouch in that department. I mean, you gotta be honest with this. Could he beat anybody in this? Who's winning the front double, in your guys' opinion? Andrew Jacked? Does he stand a chance against Andrew Jacked? I think not. I mean, you look at the lag size, and I have to keep bringing that up because it's so obvious. Now look at the arms. I mean, come on. Andrew Jacked, his torso heap, one of the best. Of course, Bumstead, his vacuum rivals pretty much anybody's in that small midsection. What about Rafael Brandao? I think he'd probably be getting second in the front double bicep pose. And he is just outgunning Chris Bumstead in all angles. Actually, could be anyway, a matchup that we see at the Prague Pro. So just a heads up, not putting that in writing, Rafael Brandao, but if he does, now Martin Fitzwater, definitely a guy, he could throw a fit. Fitzwater, he's a guy that could be going against Bumstead at the Prague Pro. And I have to be honest, I love my Chris Bumstead, he's awesome, but there's just no way, guys. Not even close. Martin Fitzwater, just way too much. Way too much. So realistically, if he doesn't want to place last in that call out, in the front double that is, first pose he'd have to beat one of these two guys. And I really just don't see it. I mean, he looks good. He has the best midsection. He's got by far the smallest legs, least impressive arms. And I mean, a juggernaut like Hunter Labrada, William Bonac means business. Maybe he could beat Bonac, but even then it's a stretch. Let's just say he can place fifth in the second call out. And we'll figure out his placings all when we're all finished this one. We'll take into consideration the top three. But yes, there is more than just that pose, guys. Like I mentioned in that top three or top four call out, the front lat spread is one of the all-time great poses from Chris Bumstead. And yes, you can admit his legs are definitely by far the smallest, but look at the upper bodies. Glance at that. Just sheer width and beauty. That is Chris Bumstead. Unbelievable. Could he actually defeat the two best, in my opinion, Rafael Brandao and Andrew Jack? I think it's clear to see that the edge that he is getting in the upper body, this is Dorian Yates level front lat spread. So yeah, I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination considering his conditioning is condition plus. That's what I say when it's good condition. I say condition plus. Some people are sitting there waiting. Plus what? Plus what? Just plus. It's condition. So yeah, give him a little gift here. A first prize, at least in the second call out. And we go to the side. My first initial opinion is Chris looks great. He looks separated. He stands out to me. He's opened up nice. So he does look great. Now, as you compare him with some of the thicker, very thick guys, you may notice Andrew Jack is missing from this equation. Hold on a second, we will show him. Now look at the legs, guys. Look at Brandao, look at Hunter Labrada, and look at the juggernauts. The other side, Martin Fitzwater and Bill Bonac. I mean, that's just a little bit much, isn't it? I mean, presentation looks good, and then you look at the arms, though. In all cases, they're all beating Chris in the arms. I think the only one that he probably does stand a chance of beating, and it's funny to say, Andrew Jack. I mean, he's one of the great ones, but from the side, he is not one of the most dangerous bodybuilders. So Chris, I honestly think, and I know I'm being nice to Chris because it's a Chris Bumstead video. I was going to say movie. Should be a Chris Bumstead movie. You should be an actor, Chris. But anyway, I think he'd probably beat Jacked from the side. Now, when you turn these dudes around, this is the difference between open bodybuilding and classic physique. There is a huge size, and you thought the leg size was substantial from the front. From the back, it's even worse. Worse for Bumstead's point of view. Now, I know, from this picture here, it does look, his back looks good. He's holding his back up straight. You can see all the little details. Speaking of detail, have a little close-up shot of what he would look like next to a juggernaut. I know I keep using that word juggernaut, but they are very thick, so very thick, next to Bumstead. Now, Bumstead's back holding its own against Martin's back, but let's face it, look at the arms, and holding his own in the back department, it's not going to win him the shot. Look at Martin's lower half. Martin has the best lower half of the bunch. And Hunter, look at his back. So there's just no way, guys. There's no way. The only possible chance for a victory is over Rafael Brandao and Andrew Jacked. And hold on before you get upset, because I don't think he's beating Andrew Jacked. He is beating him on condition. Just slightly, I think, judging by pictures, in which case they don't show everything. But anyway, I'm going to pad that all up. Now, Rafael Brandao, he is losing because of condition. You watch the video of Bumstead, things of that nature, all those things, all those natures. And that's why he did place so low at the Olympia. What did he place? 6, 7, 8, 9. He placed 8th. I think he got 8th. So Bumstead would get 5th in the rear double. He ain't beating Bonac. Who mentioned Bonac? He's not beating Bonac. Well, he's so much taller than Bonac that people are going to think that he's going to beat Bonac. He ain't beating Bonac in any back shots. We don't have a rear lat spread, so this is all speculation. And as we go to the abs and thigh, this is another shot. Like the front lat spread, he can really gain some ground. And considering his condition was good, they might just forgive him for his lack of size in those wheels. But I would definitely say he's doing enough in the midsection to defeat almost everybody here. He's not beating Andrew Jacked. When you give a guy aesthetics like this, every inch of muscle sticks out like a sore thumb, or a usable appendage here for Andrew Jacked. Those legs have never looked quite so big because he's standing next to C-Bum. So you give him a second prize in that abs and thigh pose. And in the most muscular, it would be all she wrote. And the condition is good here. His condition is not at question here, not to be questioned here, not on trial, so to speak. It's the size. And it's just, you can see it from far back, and when you zoom in, he'd be hurting for certain in between all this mass. And like I mentioned, Andrew Jacked has never looked so big in the quads. If people say he needs more quads, you stand next to Hunter Labrada. And I think almost anybody needs more quad sweeps. And then there's the Martin Fitzwaters, your Rafael Brandaus. And again, he's just not going to defeat these guys in the most muscular pose. Too much thickness, too much substance. From the back shots, back point of view, sure, he was more conditioned than some of these guys, but as a whole, you add up all the poses, and I would, honestly, being polite here, being nice to Chris Bumstead, I'd give him 4th in this lineup. So considering this is your second call-out, that would put him 7th. I would guess Chris Bumstead would place 7th in the men's open bodybuilding. And that is just an estimate. He probably wouldn't beat Bonac. Put him 8th. Rafael, he'd probably beat him because of the condition edge. Look at Bumstead here. Looks like he's Smith on a tooth because his shadow of his mustache. That's God punishing him. Oh, yeah, you don't like the balding haircut that I gave you, See, meow, I'll make you look foolish on the stage, meow. I guess Edward G. Robinson is the almighty. Anyway, just a little joke, guys. Chris Bumstead, Prog Pro, is he gonna win? He's not gonna look the same, first of all. He could explode in size, which wouldn't make sense because he was never pushing the weight limits in men's classic, was he? So he'll probably look exactly the same. Hopefully he looks bigger. And if he messes with his conditioning, I don't know. I'd stick with the peeled formula. So the Prog Pro we have could be Rafael Brandao, but don't quote me. We have Martin Fitzwater competing, correct? And Horse MD. Just a news update here, right live. I seen on RX Muscle on Instagram. Yeah, Horse MD. So Horse MD versus Chris Bumstead, the matchup that we thought we were going to see, then we thought we would never see, and now we're going to see it. That's awesome. Let me know, where would Chris Bumstead place men's open bodybuilding Olympia 2024? Would he have won? Would he have placed 7th, like I say? Where? Have a nice one.